overall satisfaction. We would love for you to join our growing community bank family. First Iowa Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Mhm.
And
Citizens of Selma, for 24 years, I proudly served you as a public servant with dedication, hard work, and commitment. Through the storms of Hurricane Zeta, the hardships of COVID, and even the devastation of the 2023 tornado, I was there, passing out food, toiletries, offering comfort, hope, and prayer, because I truly care about our people. From my years with the city of Selma as a clerk at Public Works, to serving as secretary to all 9 city council members for a decade, to my work with the district attorney's office, where I served as head office manager for over 4 years over the entire circuit of Bibb, Dallas, Hale, Perry, and Wilcox counties as the office manager, restitution officer, and victim service officer in Dallas County for over 6 years. I've walked with you through every challenge, and I will not walk away when times get tough. Selma deserves a vision, a new direction, with less talk and more action. On election day, Tuesday, August the 26th, vote Tameka Sykes for mayor, a leader who will continue to stand with you and for you.
and for our committee to elect Tameka Sykes mayor.
You got to go to the front. 1490 WHBB. Good morning on this Thursday morning, August the 21st. And as you just heard from the candidate that is with us this morning, Miss Tameka Sykes. Good morning, Miss Sykes. How are you?
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, Selma citizens.
And we will do like I like to do with all of the candidates. I don't want to assume that everybody is familiar with you. I know you've been out there a long time, but let's assume that there's some new people in Selma. Tell us about yourself, where you were born, where you went to school, and your professional status, what you do now, and that's as a starting point.
Okay. Yes. Hello, everyone. I am Tameka Sykes, a candidate for mayor. I was born right here in Selma. I'm a graduate of Selma High School, class of 1997. Currently, I work for the district attorney's office. I am the office manager, restitution officer, and one of the victim service officers for Dallas County. I've been in all of those positions for over 6 years.
Okay. Let me ask you the $1 million question. Why are you running for mayor?
Hey, I'm running for mayor because I believe that Selma deserves better than what we settled for. That's including a safer community, cleaner communities, a cleaner city, less potholes, the drainage systems, things like that. We just deserve so much more. This is a historical city, and we have visitors that come in. And I want our citizens to be proud to say that they live in this city.
Mm-hmm. Now, you worked as the administrative assistant for city council for how many years?
For 9 years. I worked for the city of Selma for 10 years.
How many different mayors did you work under?
2.
Which 2 did you?
Mayor Evans and Mayor Milton.
Okay. Now, as you know, I'm sure you know that one of the major complaints that people have when it comes to Selma city government is the tension that appears to exist between the mayor and the city council and their lack of being able to get along on some issues. What would you do differently if elected as mayor?
Well, being that I was their administrative assistant, it was 3 administrations, because it was a total of 9 years. I had to learn how to establish a working relationship, individual working relationship with each council person. They all have their own differences, their preferences. And so that is the mindset that I would take into the office as mayor. I will sit down, I will work with them. I'm sure they have a vision for their ward. Whatever their vision is for their ward, I will listen to it. And I have a vision for their wards as well. So I will sit down and collaborate with them to move their wards forward. Yes,
That's
but
the
that's
bottom
what.
line,
Yes.
So now, and it sounds like you have I hear a passion for public safety
Yes.
and for public works.
Yes.
Now, you as mayor, the mayor presently does not have the appointment power to appoint a police chief,
Correct.
but the mayor would be responsible for the day-to-day supervision, right?
Right.
So, how would you impact improving public safety as the police chief supervisor, or would you try to change it to get appointment powers?
Well, personally, I do feel under a new administration, the mayor should be given their powers back because whatever occurred during the previous administration should not flow over into the current administration. Yes, as mayor, I would ask for those powers back. But if it's voted down, then I will continue to just move forward and work with whomever's appointed to that position, which is currently Chief Fulford.
Mm-hmm. And so, how do you see yourself being able to get him to do his job?
Well, my administration, within that first week, I would go in. We would go in and see how each department is being ran. And after that's done, I will give them a list of my expectations as mayor. And hopefully, I will hope that they would abide by those expectations because I am a hard worker. Um, all the positions that I've held, I've worked very, very hard. And I like to say also too, I'm a single mother of two. I raised two kids here in Selma. My son, the baby, he's 18. My daughter is 23. So that was a full-time job itself.
Mm.
So but outside of that, working those positions, like I said, as mayor, I would expect my department heads to do the same.
Mm-hmm. Now, the mayor does have the ability to appoint the public works director.
Yes.
And so, what would you do to help improve what public works does? But I think that the real question, and that I hear a lot of people complain about, is the current provider or contractor for picking up garbage. Yeah.
And see, when I was there, the city had public works was picking up the garbage, and I honestly think that we need to move back to that.
You think you would have more control?
Yes.
In terms of being able to make sure people are getting their garbage picked up on time.
Yes.
Okay.
Because at that time we had the garbage carts where the garbage carts they were assigned to a residence.
Mm-hmm.
They were assigned to the actual residence, and so even if the citizen with the resident was to move out, that garbage cart was still there. And once someone moved in, then the garbage service would start back up.
Mm-hmm. Now, in addition to the garbage, then you also have as an issue some of the trash, the limbs that that get put. I don't know. I think people are taking leaves sometimes and put them in the sewage lines. You know what I mean? Over a sewage entrance. And so that causes a lot of problems.
A lot of blockage.
It's entirely too much blockage.
I think that's what happens with the drainage systems as well. When it storms, the water's not able to flow properly. And because of those tree limbs and debris, just might as well just say debris.
Right.
But to know that there is an ordinance where even with your leaves, where all of your leaves are supposed to be bagged up. But what was your question about?
So what would you do? It sounds like you would enforce.
Yes, I would definitely enforce that because, as I said, when it rains, if the debris is not properly stored, it will flow into your storm drains and cause them to be blocked up.
Mm-hmm. Now, what about
which causes a
problem?
A problem.
Flooding, a lot of flooding.
Yes, all over the city. I think that's what the issue is.
Mm-hmm. And so the big, not problem, but one big issue is going to be that extensive budget. And I'm sure that in your position as an administrative assistant, you have to look at.
I budgeted all of the council members' funds.
Whoa.
From their travel, their oilies, their bond funds, their grass cutting funds. I was the person that budgeted each council member funds, which is 9 council members. along with, and on a monthly basis, I would balance that budget with the finance department.
Mhm. And so, one of our problems too in Selma has been that in terms of the amount of money that we're presently bringing in. Now, you know, we had COVID and we had disaster monies that came in, and that took us, or that brought in, that generated a lot more revenue than what we usually have. But in terms of sustainable revenue, have you given any thought to what you could do to impact the bottom line and identify new streams of income?
Yes, I have. Yes,
Okay.
and of course, one of them would definitely be tourism. Tourism, because as I said, we have a lot of tourists to come into this historical city, and it's very important for us to generate new revenue into the city because we can't always rely on grants. You know, we're dealing with, you know, your grant options are being minimized right now under the current administration. So we would definitely have to use whatever we have within this city currently. But I do have some ideas on ways to generate new revenue into the city.
Mhm. And we just had another blow to the city this week. St. James
Yes, I saw
Hotel.
that.
Yes,
Yes,
they're going to close, huh?
Yes.
What are your thoughts?
Well, it's a historical place. It's a historical place, and I'm sure that's probably one of our other historic attractions when tourists do come into this city, and it's right near the Express Bridge.
So you think hopefully we'll be able to get another buyer? Or,
I hope that we do.
you know, we have to wait and see.
Under my administration,
right?
City of Selma's vote me, and we will
have a new owner. Okay.
Yes, I will make sure, because I will go and do whatever I need to do to make sure that happens.
Okay, let's take this break, and when we come back, give you an opportunity to say whatever you want to say to the voters and to our audience of Selma. We'll be back with more after these messages. Okay. And next, you got, you know, if you want to give your contact information out, whatever your slogan is, and your platform, you know, make sure you get into all of that.
And we always got something like that, so come by and check it out. If you're just looking for a pre-owned automobile, we got cars, trucks, vans, SUV, all on the service, all on the oil change, tire rotation, all service and ready to go. So we can do the financing for you too, George. That's right. The financing is not a problem, no matter if you have #1 credit or credit that's been through the ringer. We got special people that can help you out and get you. That's right. We got Credit Acceptance Corporation, and they guarantee financing improvements.
When everybody else says no, the reliable team says yes, we can.
Yeah, of course, with not only the great selection of pre-owned automobiles and the wholesale to the public just mentioned, we also keep a complete line of brand spanking new Chevrolet and GMC vehicles as well.
That's right, George. You can check us out on your website at reliablegmc.com or come see us at 14th Lawn Street, right across from the post office. Or give us a call, 872-2337. Come check us out today.
At reliablegmc.com. Give them a call, 872-2337. And remember, Reliable truly has it all.
August the 26th, 2025. Elect, vote, and re-elect Janie Thomas, City Council Ward 7, putting our community first, taking action and getting results. Paid political by friends to elect Janie Thomas for City Council Ward 7.
I'm Owen Peak. At Peak Insurance, we're excited to welcome Chase Uzi to our growing
Two more
team.
commercials
Chase
after this, and then we'll be
will
ready.
greatly help us maintain our dedication to our customers.
It is great to start a career with a highly respected company that is family-owned with a strong commitment to the very community that I grew up in and love so much. I've already learned how important it is to represent many great insurance companies, but we work for you. Peak Insurance offers freedom from one insurance agent representing only one company. This allows us to bring competition to the table to get you the best coverage at the best price. I'm Chase Uzi, hoping that you will let me talk to you about your personal and commercial insurance needs. Peak Insurance is always on your side, especially when it comes to a claim. Let one of Central Alabama's largest customer service support staffs show you the benefits of peak coverage, peak service, Peak Insurance.
Peak Insurance serves all of Central Alabama and is now the only locally owned independent agency in the Selma area. Peak service, peak satisfaction, Peak Insurance.
Valley Grand Pharmacy is excited to relocate to their all-new Dates Market on Highway 22 in Valley Grand. Pharmacist Susan Prince and her staff are anxious to continue serving existing customers and looking forward to meeting new customers who enjoy shopping at Dates Market. For existing customers, the
Before you
transition from
leave, I need to
prescriptions
make
to
sure
the
you
new
get the
location
copy.
is seamless.
Your copy.
Yes.
All existing prescriptions and medical records have been brought with us to the new location. Adam Seeley is enjoying taking care of customers at Dallas Avenue Pharmacy, while Austin Triplett will spend time at many of the other pharmacies, including Brown Drug, Med Center, Dallas Avenue, and the new Valley Grand Pharmacy. Now is the time to get the jump on flu season by getting your vaccines. Get the flu shot, pneumonia, shingles, and other vaccines at any of the Brown Drug family of pharmacies. We're growing thanks to tremendous customer support from folks just like you, caring for you and about you.
Meadows Tire and Automotive.
Call or text us at 334-875-7276. Check us out online at selmapostherald.com.
1490 WHBB. Our guest this morning for this segment is Miss Tameka Sykes. She is running for mayor of Selma. You're looking to make some history, huh?
Yes, but that's not my real focus.
But if you win, you'll make history, and Selma will make history. So that's one of those perks that will come along with it. Now is your opportunity to say whatever you'd like to say to our audience, and give us your platform and your vision and the whole 9 yards.
Yes, citizens of Selma, I'm running on 6 priorities. The first priority is effective leadership and governance, which that means bridging the gap between the current mayor's office and city council office. I think I kind of discussed that a little bit, but I just want to go over that one more time. Working for the city council, I had to establish a working relationship with each individual council person. So that's the same thing that I would do as mayor. And I would also make sure that we would hold quarterly meetings for collaboration and quarterly financial transparency briefings and regular engagement sessions with the community, each ward. My second priority is public safety. I also was the head office manager over the entire circuit of district attorney offices for 4 years. That covers Dallas County, Bibb, Hale, Wilcox, and Perry counties. Being in that position allowed me to establish a working relationship with all of your law enforcement officers. So that means I have direct connections now with all of your sheriffs, your police chiefs, your state troopers, Aaliyah. My plan is to sit down and come up with a strategic plan to minimize. And when I say crime, I'm really specifically talking about your gun violence, because that is what's rising, the gun violence. Working where I work in the district attorney's office, this is what I see on a daily basis. So that is something that I really hold true and deeply to my heart, minimizing this gun violence, because I deal with the families of these tragedies. I'm dealing with mothers, fathers who may have just lost their child the night before. And a lot of them, Randy, they are they don't have time to grieve because they don't have life insurance. They may not have life insurance. And so what I'm assisting with them with is trying to get their child buried.
Wow.
There is an organization out of Montgomery by the name of Alabama Crime Victims Compensation.
Yeah, I've talked with them.
Yes. And as a matter of fact, I am one of the main contact people in the DA's office for the specialists that they have at Alabama Crime Victims Compensation. And so that is my plan for public safety.
Well, you know, one of the problems over the years has been in law enforcement, there were so many silos, especially for some reason when it came to the mayor's office being able to do just what you described. And I, over the years, I've seen that there's been different levels of cooperation, but yeah, they all agree that if everybody can get on the same page,
right,
that's a good start to really solving some of these problems.
Yes. And I also wanted to say, you know, working in the DA's office, I work down alongside with the law enforcement, Selma Police Department,
so you know,
Dallas County Sheriff's Department.
Yeah.
And I want to say, even with the Selma Police Department, I want to make sure that they have all the equipment that they need to effectively do their job. Probably about a month or two ago, our office provided their detectives division with a new laptop and a new desktop to help with the evidence for them to store their evidence as well. So that is something that was in my plan for public safety.
Go through the rest of your
my next one is youth focused initiatives. My belief is that our youth are frustrated. They're frustrated, and they're frustrated because of the lack of things to do within the community. And under my administration, I plan to expand after school programs. I also plan to establish a workforce readiness workshops, which will teach resume building, interview skills, time management, communication skills for the youth, teamwork and collaboration, showing them how to dress appropriately for jobs, and showing up on time, and being respectful in attitude and tone, and handling stress. That's something else as well. Job shadowing programs, internships. When I say job shadowing programs, I want to get with some of these local businesses. You know, allow them to be a part of this job shadowing program. Another priority is mental health and well-being. You know, there's we've had an issue with homelessness throughout Selma, but my plan is to expand access to counseling and mental health care, address the homelessness with shelters, housing, job trainings, and mental health support, and also to launch a mental health awareness and first aid training programs. My fifth priority is infrastructure. Of course, we know that deals with your sidewalks, your water, repairing of your roads, your potholes, definitely. So, and accessing to revitalize vacant and dilapidated buildings with tax incentives. My sixth priority is economic development. Redevelop underused commercial properties. Create workforce training for techs, healthcare, and skilled trades. And I definitely want to attract new businesses, sit-down restaurants, retail stores, higher paying jobs. Yes, we may have some jobs here, but we need more higher paying jobs. And I also want to talk about things that my administration will want to do for the senior citizens as well. Emergency check-in programs. This system is where volunteers or city staff or also partner with some of these local churches to check in on the elderly residents during severe weather or citywide emergencies via phone, text, or home visits. A senior companion program. That is also something that I would like my administration would provide. Again, work with local churches to pair seniors with trained volunteers, including youth, some of the youth as well, for regular visits, phone calls to reduce isolation and depression. Also, Picnic in the park. That's something that I want to implement.
Mm.
Picnic in the park. Something for the youth as well. A community engagement for it would just really be for the senior citizens and just the youth and all of the citizens of Selma as well.
Well, you certainly seem to have your finger on the pulse.
Yes.
know.
And also I want to bring up too, with the youth. I want to go back to your youth. When you talk about cleaning up the communities, I see where there are several of our youth that get into problems. They have problems throughout the court system. I think that my plan is to have some of those youth get out and do some community service throughout the city, as far as cleaning up around these communities as well.
And keeping them busy at the same time.
Keeping them occupied.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, Ms. Sykes, so we sure appreciate you coming in and sharing that with us. Is there anything else you'd like to say before we close?
Yes. Citizens of Selma, I am a strong woman of faith, and I am a hard worker. And I have been a public servant here in this city for over 24 years. I have served every ward 1 through 8. I've seen the challenges. I've answered your calls. Every role has prepared me for this position. And I believe that I'm ready for this position. My team will be ready for this position. On August the 26th, I ask for you to vote for me, someone who has a new vision, that's ready to lead this city in a new direction with less talk and more action. Thank you.
All right, okay. You heard it. That's Ms. Tameka Sykes. And so we're going to go ahead and get ready to make the transition, as we've got Mr. Collins Pettaway III in the wings. He's up next, but we're going to join Fox News already in progress. We're also on Facebook already as well. Okay, we're still on Facebook. Let me see here. Let me do this. Get this ready. And I want to make sure that DD gives you your copies. Okay. Give me 2 minutes. Go on. Good morning, Collins. How are you? Take a seat.
Hey, Tameka. Hey, guys. How you doing? Thank you. I had a good time. Just kept the minimum. The election coming up. So I said I relax and celebrate after the election. Go ahead and sit down. Ready. Thank you. See you later.
I'll talk to you later. Yeah, just come sit.
Okay.
Have my bring down.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. You too.
How you doing? You've had a busy morning.
Man, not just we're on Facebook. We're live.
I got you.
It's been crazy. Golly, but that's the election time, and that's the way it goes. And I'm sure you know, because you grew up in it, huh?
Which is sort of, it's almost like a full circle moment almost. Yeah, we can talk about it.
Yeah, And good morning and welcome into the Thursday morning viewpoint for this Thursday, August the 21st, 2025. I'm your host, Randy Williams. We're going to hold the calls for a while. We are on Facebook. You can join us live on the Selma Post-Herald Facebook page. We've been joined this morning by Mr. Collins Pettaway III. Good morning, Mr. Pettaway. How are you, sir?
Good morning, Randy. How are you?
I'm doing fine. Good, it's always whenever I say your name, I always think about your father. I can't help it.
It comes with the territory. I think I've gotten used to it now.
Well, you know, and I knew your father before he was a
yes.
judge, and so we go way back. You know what I mean? You know, and so let's not assume that everybody knows who you are.
Okay.
You know, give us your background, where you went to school, and what you do professionally now, and your family. You know, in your case, I mean, my goodness, let me see, you got an aunt that's a judge, an uncle that's a mayor, and a father that's a judge. So you kind of grown up in the political thing, but
it was brilliant. But yeah, sure.
I'm jumping ahead, but go ahead. I'm
no,
sorry.
No, you're fine. You're fine. You know, hey y'all listen. Randy and I, we go back, so we can talk a little casual. But my name is Pettaway III. Everyone, born and raised right here in Selma, Alabama. I'm a graduate of Selma High School. I came through Selma City Schools, graduated from Selma High School, went to Alabama A&M University, where I received my bachelor's in political science and my master's in communication studies. And then in 2018, I moved back home, and I literally moved back home to devote a life for public service to Selma. I turned down what was a six-figure opportunity because I believed that there was something greater. And there was work to do here at home. I felt like there was work to do in Selma, which is why I came home to Selma in the first place. And since then, I have been boots on the ground, involved in several different organizations, initiatives to educate people, whether it's dealing with their representation, finances, civics as well. You know, at one point before the tornado took us offline, you would hear me on the radio station on 105.3 on most days. I've worked as communications director for Baltimore Regional Hospital and involved in several different organizations. You may have seen me in the Selma Rotary Club because as I served as past president. You may have seen me in the Historic Preservation Society. You may have seen me talk in your church talking about the census, or you may have seen me sing in your church because I do sing as well. And then currently right now, I am 4+ years into my communications firm, the Pettaway firm, that is a public relations PR firm, specializes in strategic communications as well as also political consultations. And I am 3 years in education right now as well, where I'm currently teaching within Dallas County School System.
Okay, I thought you were still with the hospital.
No, actually, may have been it was about 2022, I believe, sometime in 22. I actually ended up with, of course, the blessing of everyone there. David McCormick, he was one of the best bosses I've had a chance to work with and work for. But yeah, with their blessing, I made the decision to step out and work on my own. And at that time, I had to make a decision because things were getting crowded for me, and I wasn't comfortable with making the decision to sacrifice my work at Vaughn for my business. So I made a decision, and that was during the time when I was partnering. I had a great partnership with a couple of organizations, Tri-Stats. We worked with the National League of Cities, League of Municipalities, Alabama Conference of Black Mayors, and I would travel to several different towns, especially those below populations of 5,000. And we consulted with their mayors to assist them with how they would spend their American Rescue Plan dollars, educating them on that. Because during that time, you had the federal government shelving out a lot of money, a lot of resources. You know, we were coming out of COVID, right? And so there was
the tornado too.
Right, and
I guess depending on what area you were in.
Correct. And so because of all of that happening, you had all of these low population towns and communities. They were receiving all of these resources, but no oversight on how they should spend it, but yet still being held 100% accountable. And so one of the things that we would do is we would educate them on what that looks like, educate them on the documentation, the paperwork, show them what it was, and then show them how they should be able to spend their funds, how they should be able to spend their finances, break down what that looks like. Because you and I both know when it comes to reporting these finances and the way that we spend our money,
that can be a problem.
Everything has to be above board.
And you got to account for every penny now, huh?
Absolutely.
You know, and especially if you've written a grant, matter of fact, we've had a few local organizations who have lost funding because after the first year, they didn't report properly.
That's right.
And sometimes it looks like you're stealing money, but it may not be. They may not have stole a dime.
But because if it's not reported on paper, or if it's not recorded properly,
then it's stolen.
Absolutely, and that can absolutely be an issue. So that was one of the things that we that we educated a lot of people with. And during that time, believe it or not, I went hard into my consultation business because I was debating whether or not if I wanted to go full-time in education. A lot of people don't know, but when I first moved back home after Walt Maddox lost the election, which I was working for his campaign, I was struggling to try to find work because a lot of people told me I was overqualified, which is how my business came about. But at that same time, I started substitute teaching. Shout out to Miss Shamiria Gavan, who is now she's working in the State Department, but she was the principal at Sophia P. Kingston at the time before she went to Meadowview, and brought me in as a long-term sub. And I found education was something that I had no idea that I would fall in love with. And so since 2019, I have been on and off subbing, long-term subbing. And then I was in 2023 when I made the decision to go full-time into education with Selma City Schools. And that has honestly been one of the best decisions I've ever made, to be able to connect with the students, to be able to educate them and just really ensure that they are properly prepared.
Don't you have a sister that was involved in
education?
Yes,
my sister Candace, she was an educator for several years within Dallas County Schools, then over to Selma City Schools. And so she is currently right now, soon to be Dr. Candace Pettaway.
Is she still here?
Yeah, she is in Selma. She is currently studying for her PhD with Georgia State University. And so she is almost done.
So a lot of doctors in Selma. You know, every time this week in particular, every time I turn around, I'm talking to another doctor.
I mean, I'll be honest with you. I do believe that education is, I'm a big proponent of education. I don't think that education is supposed to teach you but education is set to prepare you so that you can do the work that we learn and that we get the experience.
Skill set.
Right, the skill set, right? So like take for example, for myself,
right.
I spent years because of who my uncle is, because of who my father is, because of who my mother is. When she was in the voter registrar's office at the courthouse, right? I spent years boots on the ground, helping people, doing campaigns, working campaigns, knocking on doors, all of the grassroots groundwork. But one of the things that my education taught me, especially when I started my master's journey in communications, specifically with political communications, was understanding the theoretical aspect of why politics is the way that it is, why it's important, why we have the branches of government, in the way that they do. And so I was able to understand the scientific aspect of that. And so it didn't teach me anything I already didn't know, because Selma prepared me for that, right? But the educational aspect is what was
the language,
absolutely,
the academic side.
Because you want to be able to articulate and also relate to the people that you are trying to do work with. And that's more than just an elected official position. That's if you are in any sort of civic work, if you are in community work, that is anything that involves people. You have to be able to know what that's like and how to ensure that it meets them where they are.
Which brings me to, that's a good trend for our city council board.
Excellent question. So over the last 4.5 years, I made the decision to run. Well, I need to backtrack a little bit. I have been fighting against making the decision to run for a very long time. I remember when it may have been in 2019, 2020, I sat in this chair talking with you. We were talking about census, and you were saying, I'm surprised you're not getting ready to make a political run.
What took you so long?
That's what a lot of people ask, right? You should have been running a long time ago. And I told myself, no, I didn't want to do it, because there was a long time I believed that if I could make change, or if I could be involved in some sort of political process without having to go through the stress of a campaign, then by all means, I could do that. However, there were several things. I've spoken with several people in our Ward 3 community, specifically in some of the districts, even outside of the Old Town district where I live. You got the Ice House district, you have Wheeler Avenue, you have the Riverview district. A lot of those people, they've been feeling overlooked. They have also felt like that a lot of the needs that they have spoken out about have not been met. And so it was one of those decisions where I talked with my family about it first. And I said, hey, what do you all think if I decided to run? And of course, you know my family as well as anybody. They are not going to support you just because you said you're going to run. I had to actually have the conversation with them, because they don't want to be out there supporting just any and everybody. I wouldn't do that either. And so I had to make the decision for myself. And then once I spoke with my family, talked about the why of why I wanted to be able to be a face and to meet the needs of all the people in the community. And that's when I made the decision. I said, hey, let's do it. And then before I announced, I did call Councilman Carmichael to let him know, because he and I do have a relationship, to inform him that I would be running.
Just out of respect.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, that's the right thing to do.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Before we go to this commercial break, how do you see? Well, no. Before I do that, I guess we need to know, what is it that you're proposing to do as city council person if you were elected?
Sure. So my platform came out of the several conversations that I had early on with several people. I would ask them, what are you seeing? Or what would you like to see? What are some important things? And so I came out of 5 different things, and that's open communication, an emphasis on the open communication. We're already doing Facebook, but then you still need, of course, additional means to communicate with those, especially those who are not technologically savvy. And so you have to have other means. And so that looks like ward meetings, neighborhood meetings, district association meetings, emphasizing the neighborhood watches that are in place already and finding a way to put that on a platform. Economic development, and also paying attention to several overdue issues in our community, such as we have a lot of potholes over there. We have a lot of abandoned houses. Blight is a huge problem, and also crime and public safety. Working with the department heads and also whomever is in the mayor's office to ensure that we can be able to find viable solutions together for the people. Capitalizing on our historic district, because Ward 3, we are one of the few places in the state where an entire ward, 99% of the ward, sits in a historic district.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Selma has the largest historic district in the state. Mm-hmm. And so being able to preserve that while also capitalizing on other opportunities for tourism and also economic development, and then finally just intergovernmental relations. And that's just the art of being able to talk to each other, because we spend so much time talking at each other. And so for me, I believe it. I guess it's simple.
Well, that's the number one complaint that I hear in terms of Selma city government
is the lack of relationships that
between the mayor and the city council.
It's rough to see,
you know. And although that's the narrative, but when you really, when you get right down to it, as I understand it, we're going to hold the calls for a few minutes. When you get right down to it, you've got, I understand that over 90% of what the mayor has proposed to the city council, this current mayor, has been approved. Mm-hmm. And so, but somehow that less than 10% gets all the attention. And, so the narrative, that's a real issue. Let's take this break. Okay. And our guest this morning, Mr. Collins Pettaway III, he is running for City Council Ward 3. And we'll be back with more after these messages. I know Chris Plant is going to try and jump in. I have to straighten him out first. We'll do Chris Plant after 9. We'll be back with more right after this.
Yes, sir.
I'm running for mayor because Selma deserves leadership with action, not excuses. I've served my country, and now I'm serving my city. I've invested time, resources, and heart to help build a better Selma, block by block. Now it's your turn. Vote Aaron over for real results, real unity, and real leadership. I do, you do, we do. Tomorrow starts today. Vote Aaron the Veteran Roper on Tuesday, August 26, 2025. Paid political advertising by the committee to elect Aaron Roper, P.O. Box 493, Selma, Alabama 36702. 1490 WHPB.
Visiting with Barry Parker, reliable Chevrolet and GMC in historic downtown Selma.
Still on Facebook, so
9 years.
Are we frozen?
That's right, George.
And it looks like this particular.
Same location, same.
Yeah, it looks like it is for the morning. Sometimes the signal will do that. Yeah, but not it hadn't been doing it recently.
Let's just call it inexpensive pre-owned automobile.
I can see on my phone if that's what's going actually on.
Yeah, because I went on, it's actually frozen.
It is frozen. What about the audio?
If you're just looking for a pre-owned automobile, we got cars, trucks, vans, SUVs, all on the service, all on the boots.
Oh, yeah, the audio
change, car rotation.
The audio is fine. That's the most important thing. Because, I mean, they only, how many times are you going to change the way you look, right?
I know, right? That freeze frame is killing me, though, my gosh.
you out and get you rebuilt again.
And they guarantee financing approval. So when everybody else says no, the reliable team says, yes, we can.
And of course, with not only the great selection of pre-owned automobiles and the wholesale to the public just mentioned, we also keep a complete line of brand spanking new Chevrolet and GMC vehicles as well.
That's right, George. You can check us out on your website at reliablegmc.com or come see us at 14th Lawn Street, right across from the post office. Or give us a call at 872-2337. Come check us out today
At reliablegmc.com. Give them a call, 872-2337. And remember, Reliable truly has it all.
Come check us out today.
We're frozen again, huh? 1490 WHBB. If you're with us on Facebook, you'll notice that we have a frozen photograph, a frozen video. And so, but the audio, understand, is still in place. That's clear.
Yeah, the audio is definitely still clear.
Which actually, some of the, one of the forums that I did, I had all the audio, but the video, there were some problems.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've been touring around with just a still frame and playing the audio under it for people that want to hear, the full list. So, okay, now let's get into some of the details of what a city council person does. And,
Sure.
And go ahead.
I was going to, well, before we get into that, I like you brought up the observation about the fact that, because we talked about the relationships, right? And you did mention how the 90% of what the mayor has proposed has been passed. But 10%, the focus is 10%. I do agree with that. But I did want to, I think that a lot of that has happened. A lot of that is so focused on heavily because I believe it goes back to, there's this phrase that people don't care for how much you know until they know how much you care. And so, I think because we see a lot of, there's so much of this, that it's hard to focus on the positives that have passed. And I think we should have focused more on the positives because there have been a lot of positives that have been passed. But however, it makes it hard to focus on that. So I just wanted to bring that point up because that's important. That's why relationships is something that's really big for me.
Well, relationships and that narrative,
Absolutely.
Selma has a problem with, there are some media entities that obviously benefit from projecting Selma in a negative light. And so that's what they do.
That's right.
And so we just have to be aware of that. But go ahead.
No, absolutely. I just wanted to bring that point out, and I agree with you wholeheartedly. So let's get into it.
Now, yes. So as city council person, what would you do differently than what the present council person is doing?
One of the things I think that absolutely that I would do is be a little bit more open to working with the mayor and also others. One of the things that I have heard from several people in the community is that they have tried to be have those straight conversations with their councilman, and it's always sort of a back and forth. Whereas I think accountability has to be key, and so I have no problem being held accountable for anything that I may have done or I may have said. If I miss something, if I don't pay attention to something, please call me, find me, go off on me. I want you to, because that's the job. I believe that's the job that we sign up for. And so I think that's probably one of the first things absolutely is being willing to hold myself more accountable for sure. And that's something I never have a problem with doing anyway.
Now, a lot of people run for different offices, and and I guess we all want to have some things that we like to see done differently in the city. But now you're a political science major, so you should have a pretty good handle on government. Governor Ivey has now made it mandatory for elected officials to go through 40 hours or 10 hours a year, I think, of training to know what you do as a city as an elected official. But I would think that you probably should have a pretty good handle on what that is already. Now, with your platform, how do you see and how does it match up with what you can actually do as a city council person?
So that's a great question, because a lot of times people who run for city council, and this is something that I have said in several platforms, they believe, or there is this feeling that we believe that the council are magicians, or that we operate to do the work of the city, right? That we are the ones that tell the people to go out and fix the potholes, and we are the ones that go out and tell code enforcement to do X, Y, Z. When the fact is, that's not our job. Our job is to, number one, legislate and make policy. And then the second thing about our job is also manage the finances to ensure that the financial decisions that the mayor's office goes through and that the mayor's office that they do, that it is in the betterment of the people while still being financially stable and sound. Because if the city's finances, if they crumble, that's on us as a council. And so what that means in my particular purview is nothing that I can do outside of council meetings, ward meetings, and also neighborhood district meetings. All that's on me, because again, I'm the person that the people have to talk to. I'm the person you bring your issues with. I'm the person who brings that accountable. But what that looks like is creating a system and infrastructure resources into the community. One of my biggest issues is access. We've had so many different events and things so far where people they're offering, they're offering trainings for this, they're offering resources, but they're always out. They're always outside of the neighborhood, outside of the community. And you have people in the community that don't have ways or resources or transportation to get to some of these places. So what I can do, again, this is what I can do. What I can do is see what can we do to bring these type of programs in the neighborhoods. Why not have a job fair in the middle of the street, right? So that the people can just come out our streets. That does, of course, fall within the purview of the executive with each and every one of the department heads. So that, can you give me a time frame when I can this looks like? Educating our people on what that looks like. I send in the paperwork here. It takes X amount of days here. This is what that looks like. And so you have to have almost like a triangular relationship. The people at the top, I'm right here, executive branch here, and we literally are working together in what is almost like a circle, like a cycle.
Now, if you were elected to the Ward 3 City Council seat, and if Mayor Perkins is reelected, and he's your uncle, right?
He is.
So would that complicate things? Does that stop you from being objective, and depending on what kind of relationship you have, some families can't get along. I don't know if that's the situation with you guys or not, but I'm just asking the question, would that complicate things that you're so closely related?
Absolutely not. He's my uncle. That is something that I'll never be able to escape. I don't want to escape it. That's family. Family will always come first. However, in the council seat, I represent the people. In the council seat, I represent the best interests of the people. I represent what they want. And so there are going to be some opportunities where we get along, or we will not agree, right? But I don't think that would ever constitute blurring the lines of ever being disrespectful to each other. That just comes with having a conversation to say, Mayor Perkins, I don't agree with you. I respectfully do this, right? I'm not going to always agree with him. I'm not going to always vote alongside him. And be honest with you, I'm that way right now with him. I don't know if anyone ever listened to when I was on the radio. I used to grill him very, very hard. He told me, I agree. I would ask some pretty harsh questions, but that just came with being objective. And so, absolutely, being objective is something that my parents made sure that I knew how to be early on, because you have to be able to have a boundary when it comes to working business. Because the fact is, there are so many people in Selma who are related to each other. It's not just my family.
I know that's
There's
right.
so many families. Everyone is related to someone in some sort of capacity.
In some way, yeah.
And so we have to be our own experts when it comes to not blurring the boundaries of professionalism and personal matters. And that's what has to happen.
Now, what if he's not elected and there's another mayor, and a new person is in that office? Would you have any animosity, or would that stop you from being objective?
Not at all. I have great relationships with every single one of those mayoral candidates. Tameka and I, Tameka Sykes and I, we worked together on the Alumni Association, sang together in churches. Aaron Roper and I, we've done some work together. He and I are really good friends. Skip Moss, he of course was the Board of Education president, and also we worked together when I was at Wallace, working under the Workforce Development WYOA grant. Renita Wade and I relationship. Attorney Jackson and I have a great relationship. I don't know Jamal Sanders personally, but he and I do have a great rapport. I've seen him when we canvassed on the streets. And so, no, it would not change anything at all, no matter who the mayor is, which is why I said whoever is in office, I have no problem working with whoever the mayor is, because at the end of the day, it's again about the people. And so I will absolutely do what I can to be sure that I will not be a stumbling block on whatever the mayor wants to get done. Now, that does not mean, of course, saying yes to almost everything, right? But of course, I won't say no to everything. I won't say yes to everything either. We just have to have conversations.
It's on a case-by-case basis.
You have to treat case by case, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, we're going to take a break in a moment, but before we do, so now another one of the main two complaints that I hear on a council level is that when work orders are submitted, well, if a person has a problem in the ward and they give it to the council person, and then the council person submits the work order, that many times there's a breakdown somewhere and the work never gets done. Now, for whatever the reason is, that's a whole nother discussion. But if you were elected as council person, how would you handle being able to deal with potholes and sewage problems and drainage and flooding in your ward? How would you deal with that?
That's a great question, actually. How you doing? Good to see you.
Thank you.
That's actually a great question. So let me backtrack for a moment. Prior to me making the announcement, I did actually have some conversations with some of the department heads. I use public works because that's always a hot one that everybody talks about. I reached out to Henry Hicks and I reached out and I asked him, and I said the same thing. There seems to always be an issue to where if a work order comes in or a councilman submits something, there's sometimes is a delay on getting something fixed. Or a traffic light breaks down, there might be months until something gets fixed. So I actually asked that question directly. What is the breakdown? And then what do you think,
what's the solution?
So
right.
He talked about one of the things that happens is you have almost 8 or sometimes 9, because the council president can make things happen as well. You have almost 8 to 9 orders that may come in, not including what the mayor's office may need to do themselves. And you operating with half staff. Right now there are, I want to say 30 to 35 public works employees, and you really need almost 70 for a city Selma size, right? Especially when you're talking about the land mass, you need so they're working half staff, and that's not talking about the cemetery crew, that's not the Parks and Rec crew. This is just public works. And so, what I believe needs to happen is how about we find ways to still increasing funding and offering incentives so that we can add more people to the public works staff. One of the things that and this is nothing against reaching out for contracted work, because I do believe in
outsourcing.
Right, I do believe in outsourcing. Some things need to be outsourced because that also helps support local businesses. You want to support local businesses. You want to support those who are out there getting it. However, if we have the funding and the resources to increase pay, so that way we can ensure that the people who are working have a livable wage and add more people to the staff, then why not do that?
Mm-hmm.
And so I think one of the solutions, there are many solutions, but one of the solutions that I know from my purview is find out where's funding available so that we can actually pay our people what the wages that they need to be paid. No one is coming to work for jobs $12 an hour or $13 an hour. Not in 2025.
They're certainly not going to relocate, huh?
Correct, because the economy is changing, right? We have a housing crisis that's happening right now. We have so many things that are keeping people from wanting to work. They want to work for the city. They want to move. And generally, government jobs are supposed to be secure jobs. But why is it here in Selma? Selma City government is the only place where we do not have any security or job security for our staff. I would not want to live like that. And I don't think our staff members deserve to live like that either. And so we need to find ways to ensure that, number one, that they are secured in where they work. And number two, the resources are there so that we can add more people to the staff so that we can be able to cover the issues. And I believe that will help in increasing productivity when it comes to work orders. That will help increasing productivity when it comes to some of these longstanding issues.
So how do you do that as a council in terms of, I don't know where the line is, or if it would be a matter of putting it on the agenda, but identifying new sources of revenue and addressing the employment and the salary issue from a council person's seat. What would you do? How would you proceed?
Well, the first thing I would start with is meeting with all the department heads. I would meet with the Department of Personnel first. Let's talk through, what are you seeing? What are issues are you having in your office? Why are you having such a large turnaround rate? And then again, like I said, I spoke with Henry Hicks. Conversations like that need to happen with every single person, because again, I am not the expert in these particular fields. You are. And so if you are working in these fields, let's have the conversations as to what are the root causes. Because number one, you have to gather information. The very first step to problem solving, Martin Luther King said it, it's scientific, is to gather information. And so let's gather all of the information we can first. Financial information, finances, let's get into what's going on with Parks and Rec, what's going on with the cemeteries, what's going on with the fire department, right? The police department. Let's have these conversations. And then once we have these conversations, let's find out, what are we spending on? What do we need to save on? Where can we pull funding and finances from to make room for our people? I don't know what it is about Selma where we tend to always have a half empty mindset when it comes to that, when it comes to things like this, when I do believe we need to really turn situations around. And I believe we can. If we have money and funding to pay our youth for a youth summer employment program, what about expanding that into an after school program to be able to get, and that now you're tapping into the resource of getting some of our kids off the street.
Now, in somewhere in my memory, and I'm thinking it was this administration that seems to frown on council people interacting with the department heads on an individual level. So would that be a problem, or would you bring each council person before the full council, or
each department head?
What's it again?
You mean each department head before the council?
Right. Now, how do you do it like that, or would you do the one-on-one that you've been doing before becoming a council person?
I think one-on-one means work. It doesn't have to always be in a formal setting. Ms. Rutledge, what time are you in your office? Okay. Is it cool if I stop by maybe about 9:15, 9:30? Just kind of want to chat, kind of talk with some stuff. Just something simple like that on your time, right? Again, it goes with talking to them.
What if the mayor frowns on that and says, well, I don't want you talking to my department heads?
Well, I would probably mayor first and say, okay, you don't want me talking to the department heads, then maybe I can talk to you. And can you, let's work on that. I'm literally a talk to you type of person.
Right.
I'm not going to make any type of decision unless I have information. And it's not responsible for me to make decisions until I have information. But in order for me to get information, I do have to that's his proper protocol. So if the protocol means that I need to talk to the mayor first and meet with the mayor one-on-one, let's do that for sure.
Now, one of the complaints I hear from council people many times is that they say some of the items that they're asked to vote on, they don't get the information until the day of the council meeting or the work session, the day that they're expected to make a vote, not having enough time to get familiar with a particular item that's on the agenda. How would you handle that?
So I've seen that, and I've seen that's heard in real time as far as when I've attended meetings, listened in on meetings. So I can't necessarily speak as far as what I would have done differently. If it's something where I see it, and let's just say there's a line item of things, right? If what I see is something that, number one, if it does actually benefit the people, if it's something that makes sense, if the city attorney tells us that it makes sense legally, if the treasurer is able to answer the question that it will not harm our finances or will not put us in a bad place, then generally I would go ahead and support it. Or if I had questions, I would ask those questions. Because again, my questions would be, does it make sense? So if I receive something the day of, now that does not mean everything needs to immediately be approved. Because again, there needs to be some conversations. Well, hey man, let's have a conversation first. I think, can we talk maybe tomorrow? And then, because I don't want to immediately say yes to something, and this might harm the people in the process. But if the mayor is not there, then the department head is there. So the comes up and she gives information about some grants that we're looking to apply for and that we have funding for. Let's just say it might be a match grant, because most grants you have to match. That means you have to pay out in most cases, you know, the rules of some of those grants that we get. And so if treasurer says, oh, well, yes, I checked, the finances are there, we can afford it, it will not harm us, we can still make payroll, we can still pay our bills, we can still operate as a city the way that we need to operate as a city. And our city attorney says, yes, legally, this does make sense, everything is here. Okay, thank you. That's all I needed to know. So you want to try to get the information first. So there are ways to get information even if you receive it. However, I would like to not get it at the last minute.
Well, I was going to ask, but doesn't parliamentary procedure or Robert's Rules of Order have a mechanism for you to delay the vote or the table the issue?
There is unreadiness, absolutely. And so that's absolutely doable. And sometimes you may have to table something 1 or 2 times, for sure. You know, I've actually in one of my organizations now, in one of the boards I sit on, I actually had to advocate for something to be tabled. And the reason why specifically is because I wanted to ensure that the rest of the body was made aware first. Transparency has to be the name of the game. And so I don't believe in backwards. I don't believe in any sort of backroom deals or meetings. And so if this is something that you're asking me to vote for and it is that the language is murky, or if it doesn't make sense to the people, you have to break it down so that people will understand that. So in education, a perfect example, in education, we teach what are called standards. Standards are generally course of study materials that the state of Alabama Department of Education requires us to teach. And so one of the things that I do in my classroom is I actually break the standard down to my students before I get into it. So instead of it saying employ conventions of grammar, mechanics, and usage to do yada, 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 I break it down so they can understand I'm not employing conventions of grammar, I'm just showing you the rules of English. See how easier that was? And so again, the language just has to make sense. And that's, at the end of the day, it all just has to make sense, for sure.
Let's get ready to take this break, and then when we come back, you know, I want you to get into your platform and that whole 9 yards. We'll be back with more after these messages.
This time is flying.
Oh, it goes by fast.
Yeah.
And we got you unfrozen.
Oh, wonderful. That's me.
That's you.
Let me back here to serve the place I love, which is why I'm running for Selma City Council Ward 3. I'm running because I believe our neighborhoods deserve more honesty, more action, and more results. Election day is August the 26th, and I will be honored to have your supports and your votes. People, progress, her way. Let's put Ward 3 first. Paid for by the committees with the College Federal 30 of Box 1612, Selma, Alabama 36702.
I'm Owen Peak. At Peak Insurance, we're excited to welcome Chase Uzi to our growing team. Chase loves Central Alabama and will greatly help us maintain our dedication to our customers.
It is great to start a career with a highly respected company that is family owned with a strong commitment to the very community that I grew up in and love so much. I've already learned how important it is to represent many great insurance companies, but we work for you. Peak Insurance offers freedom from one insurance agent representing only one company. This allows us to bring competition to the table to get you the best coverage at the best price. I'm Chase Uzi, hoping that you will let me talk to you about your personal and commercial insurance needs. Peak Insurance is always on your side, especially when it comes to a claim. Let one of Central Alabama's largest customer service support staffs show you the benefits of peak coverage, peak service, Peak Insurance.
Peak Insurance serves all of Central Alabama and is now the only locally owned independent agency in the Selma area. Peak service, peak satisfaction, Peak Insurance.
1490 WHBB. Good morning. Our guest this morning is Mr. Collins Pettaway III. He's running for Ward 3, City Council seat. What's your platform?
My platform is People, Progress, Pettaway. And I got that from the fact of making sure that my campaign has been around the people. You know me, I serve people. I have spent a lifetime, everything in every capacity that I have been a part of, it is been around serving people. And so every platform, every plan that I've talked about and come and talked through, it surrounds serving the people. That's why everything that I said, from open communication, economic development, addressing long overdue issues, historic preservation, and intergovernmental relations all surround a plan for serving the people with progress.
Now, I think I've heard you, at least on one of the forums, talk about the possibility of trying to get the Battle of Selma.
Yes.
To come back.
Yes.
What are you?
Sure. So, and it's crazy because Battle of Selma was always like, I got questioned a lot when I said that because people. So here's the thing. I clear it up. So, the Battle of Selma was a huge opportunistic moneymaker opportunity moneymaker.
So tourist attraction.
And a tourist attraction, right? We can't ignore the fact that Selma was the last major battle in the Civil War. Selma was also was the hub for all of its artillery during the Civil War space. It was set downtown before they burned downtown to the ground. That's what you read.
Second only to Richmond, Virginia.
Correct. That's correct. And Austin Fitz wrote a great book, Selma, the Bicentennial History, that was released in 2020, that really gave a lot of great information. It was ahead of the bicentennial celebration. And so one of the things that I believe, and this is something that I believe when I was on the Historic Preservation Society, you can honor the history of events without honoring the people, because that is extremely important, right? There are several major figures, Black figures, during those times. You have your during those times in early Selma. I'm talking about your Courtney Clarks, your R.B. Hudson, your Robert Bryant Hudsons, your Benjamin Sterling Turner.
How about Benjamin Turner?
And so you have so many African American figures, and they just I hate to see that history go away because we have not had the time to teach our kids, right? And so, as hard as I am to recognize the racism and civil rights history with Selma, we also have to acknowledge the dichotomy of also the Civil War history.
Well,
now they clash, right?
Well, how can you have reconciliation if you can't marry the two?
So that's the thing. You have to. Reconciliation starts with accountability. Number one. And so that also means acknowledging the fact that the Confederate flag was a symbol of racism and hate, and also discrimination. You have to acknowledge the fact that people like Nathan Bedford Forrest and Edmund Pettus, who the bridge is named after, were despicable human beings that hated Black people. However, that is still history for us to know. You want to know what your history is, despite how disgusting that it was. You want to remember the history. That does not mean propping people up for them to be in your face. That looks like acknowledging what the history is and who they are. The Historic Society does an excellent ghost tour in the old Live Oak Cemetery. I actually participated.
I did 1 year too.
Yeah, I did 1 year as Army Hudson. I dressed up and over there in Courtney Clark's grave. That's how I know about the Sophia P. Kingstons.
Right.
Again, people don't know that Black people are buried over there.
Right.
And so there is a way to honor that history without propping up the people who aided and abetted in the slavery, who aided and abetted in the discrimination to Black folks back in the day.
Well, Mayor Stephen Reed of Montgomery just proposed a $300 and some million budget, the highest budget in Montgomery's history, but they have more than enough money in surplus to afford to do it. And Montgomery's slogan is the cradle of the Confederacy, the birthplace of the Civil Rights Movement. They have successfully married Civil War and civil rights, and they're making a lot of money doing it. And they got a lot. They got high paying jobs and good sit down restaurants, but that would not be possible, in my opinion, if they were not a huge tourist destination. We just lost the St. James Hotel. What can we do, and what can you do as a council person to help change the narrative and boots on the ground? How do we change that?
I think as council members, we also have to be good stewards of who we approve to, purchase these buildings, and who we approve to receive, because it's not just the St. James. And mind you, I was at the St. James last Friday, I think. It was either Saturday. I was at the St. James last Saturday, and going to get something to eat after I had left one of the events over in Ward 3. And that's when the general manager, she told me that they were getting ready to close. My jaw dropped. I was so sad. I was devastated.
Wow.
And so before it came out, I had already gotten word that they were getting ready to close. However, we do have to just be honest with ourselves. There are so many people in Selma that purchase these buildings, that will purchase these businesses, that will manage these places. And this is not to say this is St. James. I'm just speaking in a general sense. So This is not directed to St. James, but this is general. We have to be mindful of what the long-term plans look like when people purchase these buildings, because there's money available. I said this on Terry Chestnut show last week. Money is there to purchase these buildings, but what happens when you need to develop and you need to sustain it? One of the things that we don't have in Selma, we don't have a major interstate. All we have is Highway 80, and we're not capitalizing on the Alabama River. And so because we don't have an interstate that runs through our city like Montgomery does, or Prattville, or Millbrook, or even Hope Hall, Lowndes County, Greenville.
What helps?
Right. Interstate traffic helps. I tell you right now, Utah, Alabama, and Greene County. Yeah. One of the things they're thriving in, they're building. It may already be built.
Meridian too,
There's a Hampton Inn, I think, that's being built right there off the interstate. They just had a large Love's gas station that's right there off the interstate where the city limits is. That's money coming into that town. Pickens County would thrive in Aliceville because Aliceville is right there on the other side off of Highway 14 off the interstate. And so one of the issues that we run into is we already have a strike against us because we don't have a major interstate that comes through our city, or even within 5 to 7 miles of our city. And so because we don't necessarily have that, we have to try to be creative, and honestly, we have to be watchful of who develops and who has these buildings. Right now, you got all these buildings downtown that people have bought that have sat there for years. So many different people. It's not just one person. I hate when people always they holler out one person. No sir, no ma'am. There are several people who own these buildings, who bought buildings downtown, and they are absolutely not doing anything with them. They're not building them up. They may have started, but they realize they've gotten over their heads, and so we have to find better ways on how we can ensure that those who buy these buildings, how are they supported? How are we able to support these people? If they struggle, can they come back to the council to see about assistance for funding? Can they go to the mayor's office to see how can we work with each other to survive? We have to work together, and it has to be a team. Otherwise, we are not going to survive. And that's the only way that we are going to thrive. Our motto at one point, I don't know if it has changed, but it was always from civil war to civil rights to beyond. It's still the same. Okay, good. I want to be sure.
Yeah.
We changed so much.
Yeah, I know.
But from civil war to civil rights and beyond is such a powerful legacy because it reminds us where we came from,
right,
where we started,
and
the potential of where we can go. But we have to be able to do that together.
Let's take this last break, and then we'll come back and wrap up. We'll be back with more right after this.
For mayor, because Selma deserves leadership with action, not excuses. I've served my country, and now I'm serving my city. I've invested time, resources, and heart to help build a better Selma. Block, block, block.
All right.
Now it's your turn. Vote Aaron Roper.
Your competition's getting ready to come
real unity and real leadership. I do, you do, we do. Tomorrow starts today. Vote Aaron the Veteran Roper on Tuesday, August 26, 2025. Paid political advertising. Body committed to elect Aaron Roper, P.O. Box 493, Selma, 3672.
If you want a transparent, accountable, and proven leader who is a strong proponent for safer streets, re-elect Clay Carmichael for Ward 3. I'm always available at 334-410-0582 and will share public records anytime you need them. I've used discretionary monies for multiple
large sections of streets showing fairness, inclusiveness, and good ethics by leading my own neighborhood to last. On August 26th, let Clay Carmichael for Ward 3, paid for by the committee to elect Clay Carmichael, Selma, 3672.
14 now, DWHBB. We're under 2 minutes, and so anything you'd like to say to our audience, go right ahead.
Sure. Specifically to those who live in Ward 3, because you are who I will be. You all are the ones who will hold me accountable once elected. You all are the ones that would have access, would be able to contact me, and also to honestly hand me my butt if I screw up on something. I cannot do this without you. I can speak all day about everything that I plan to do, that I would love to do, and I have. You've heard me talk about what relationships look like. You've heard me talk about what working together as a team could look like and what we have the potential to do within our neighborhoods, the funding that we have the potential to be able to work together to try to be able to secure with working with the mayor's office and the council and the department here so that we can do what we need to do. But I cannot do this without you, Ward 3. And so in order for me to do what I love to do, and that is serve you, I need you to come out on August the 26th to ensure that you vote and elect Collins Pettaway III for your next Selma City Council in Ward 3. Again, thank you for this time. I need you. We are together, and we work together, and we are at our best when we are together. Thus, the slogan, people, progress, Pettaway.
Okay, all right. Well, thank you so much for coming in. And we're out of time for calls. We got a call coming in, but sorry, call.
You want to take it?
Well, okay, all right. We'll do it. We'll take the one call. We're gonna go over. We're going
just for a minute.
Okay, all right, that's fine.
I got a minute.
All right, Viewpoint. You're on the air.
Randy.
Yes. Good morning.
When you get a chance, can you call me? I got an important issue.
Oh yeah, sure. I sure will. Yes, sir. No problem.
Well, okay.
141-216-81.
I should have your number in my phone.
If you will call me when you get a chance, I need this urgent.
Okay. As soon as I sign off.
All right. Thank you. Bye.
All right, thank you. Okay, well.
We'll sign off then. Thank you so much for having me, Randy, on Viewpoint. Thank you all for listening. Thank you all for tuning in on Facebook Live. Again, Collins Pettaway III. You can find more information at Collins P for Ward 3 on Facebook, on Instagram, Linktree/Collins P for Ward 3. You'll find my platform information, how to donate. Donate, because all of the money that I am receiving from you all, your donations, they go toward me being able to serve our volunteers and be able to serve the campaign. It helps create a strong campaign. And so thank you all so much. And you can also see them. I report them all the time online. And so again, thank you all so much. And Randy, thank you.
And thank you. See you tomorrow morning, the good Lord willing. Tomorrow morning starts with at 7 o'clock. We've got Kamisha Alvarado, aka Sunshine. 8 o'clock, Cicely Curtis, who's running for a school board president. And at 9 o'clock, Mr. Pettaway's uncle, Mayor James Perkins Jr., is scheduled to come in. We'll see you tomorrow. We're going to join Fox News, already in progress.
You got a busy,
Man, well, this one is not over.